so I apologize for the quality in advance. But we are finally getting in with the geneticist tomorrow for our daughter. I am excited. I'm nervous. I'm ready to have this appointment over with. We made this appointment back in March, and it was originally for September 28th, 24th, something like that. They called today and said they had a cancellation for tomorrow, August 27th. And of course we took it, like we've been waiting for forever. And I've been doing really good. I haven't really been thinking about it, but now that it's tomorrow, it's like all I can think about. In my mama heart, I don't believe anything's gonna come of it. I think they're just gonna be like, yeah, she's fine. There's no reason to do any testing, or maybe they will do testing just to cover their butt, CYA. But if they do testing, I still feel like it'll come back negative. It was just a few therapists that brought it up to us because her heart was, everything that was wrong with her heart was connective tissue problems, not growing, not forming appropriately. And then she's pretty flexible, she's pretty lax. So they're wanting to rule out like a connective tissue disorder, potentially a congenital form of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, because she's not even 2 yet, so she's not old enough to go through like the clinical diagnostic where she has to follow all these rules and see on a scale of like where she grades. That'll come later in life when she can follow instructions. But there are congenital types of EDS, which I did not know. There's one that maybe will sneak in there. It's a CV EDS, so it's cardiovascular. It impacts the heart, so it causes the holes in the heart, which is what she had. It also causes an enlarged aorta, which she is also experiencing, and that we're dealing with whether we will end up needing surgery and a potential valve replacement or not needing surgery. And then again, she has the extreme flexibility. She's not super low tone, but lower tone to where she needed orthotics when she was learning how to walk. She had her little SMOs. She's still using them. But yeah, that's tomorrow. And again, I like went down a rabbit hole and like spiraled earlier after they called and we made the appointment. Because it's at the forefront of my brain. But I'm excited to go, see what they have to say. Hopefully they just don't think anything needs to be done, because nothing is impacting her quality of life. She's walking, she's basically running, she's meeting milestones. Yeah, she's still a little bit weaker, but she had such a rough start to life with NICU, heart surgery at 4 months, multiple admissions for failure to thrive before her heart surgery. And I mean, she was preemie, and that's why she was in the NICU. So I think just a lot of things are counting against her, and she's just making up for that time. But I will keep you updated. I plan on taking you guys to the appointment with us, and just crossing my fingers everything is good.
Good morning and happy Thursday. It is the morning of our daughter's genetic appointment. We are on a walk outside. Have to do it early. It is 7:30-ish in the morning, and it's already almost 100 degrees. So we're doing a quick walk to get some sunshine. The UV is 0, which is the good thing. But yeah, just keeping our minds occupied until the appointment. Again, I don't think it's gonna be anything. I just don't think it's gonna be anything, but that doesn't mean I get anxiety. I don't get anxiety.
Just got back home from her genetics appointment. It was roughly like 30 minutes away. I had no idea what to expect going into our first genetics appointment, and I don't think it's very well talked about. So I kind of wanted to give an overview of how the whole morning went, just so if someone stumbles upon my video and they have a genetics appointment coming up, whether it's for themselves or their child, they're kind of aware what to expect. Since we did IVF and we had a sperm donor, I was able to get his genetics and my genetic testing, kind of have that ready to go to give. We got there, we checked in, we had to fill out this really long questionnaire about my pregnancy, her birth, was she or was she not in the NICU, complications of pregnancy or birth, and then just full medical history, developmental history, intellectual history, up until her current age, which is obviously today, right now. Filled all of that out, got called back. They took her height, weight, head, blood pressure, head circumference, blood pressure, and oxygen, just to kind of see where she fell on the chart of norms and percentiles. And then we went back to a room. We weren't in a room very long, and it was a normal like doctor's office room. I was expecting to be in like a sit down like psychiatric appointment office, but it looked like just a normal doctor's appointment. A medical student came in and she spoke with us a long time, kind of going over the history, getting a little bit more detail than the questionnaire that I answered when we first got there. Spoke to her about everything, obviously went into more detail about the IVF process, like things that she needed to know that pertain to our daughter. Birth, like MFM, fetal echoes, anatomy scan, her delivery, the NICU, complications in NICU if there were any, hospitalizations prior, during, and post cardiac stuff, any infections or viruses that have caused hospitalizations, which we've had a few. Is there eye complications, ear complications, which she does have some hearing things going on, so we spoke about that. No eye things that we know of. Kind of ran through that history, seeing if there was anything. She brought up a few other things to make sure like we weren't missing anything. We touched on like the topic of absent seizures, but she doesn't feel like that's something we need to be worried about. And I don't feel like that's anything we need to be super concerned about. I think she just like zones out when she's tired. That's a whole other topic, but we spoke to her. Then she left after speaking with her, and then she did like a physical exam on our daughter. And then a genetic counselor came in and spoke to us. She's the one that wanted my genetic testing during IVF and the sperm donor's genetic testing prior to the IVF process. So we gave her all of that. She kind of walked us through what genetic testing would look like, what the tests would be, yada, yada, yada. She left. The medical student and the doctor returned to kind of speak to us about everything. If there were things that were kind of like flashing in his head, like flags for specific things. He brought up a few things, one of those being, I don't know if I want to talk about it actually. I'm not going to bring it up until we have like definitive answers, but he brought up a few things, but he also said that it could absolutely be nothing, that, you know, time would tell, but just by looking at her, she looked healthy. So he wanted to move forward with genetic testing, which, you know, was okay. It's stressful, but okay. I was pretty overwhelmed in the office talking about it, but I'm better now that I've had time to like digest. So after we got done speaking with him and he did his physical exam on her, he left with the medical student. The genetic counselor came back in. She brought so many swabs, but thankfully like no blood draws, no like hair pulling to send off. It's all done there, and then they send more off, but it was 2 cheek swabs for me, 2 cheek swabs for my daughter, and we should hear back. And she said typically like a month to 2 months. So I'm just gonna try not to think about it for the next month to 2 months. But again, like now that I'm like removed from the office and like talking about it, I've been able to digest and settle. Like nothing that he brought up was like horrible, but just as a mom, it's, you know, a mom with anxiety specifically, it is a lot. But then, you know, we wrapped up our day at the hospital's campus with lunch, a good hospital cafeteria lunch. And then their gift shop sells jelly cats. So we got a Halloween jelly cat to bring home. She is obsessed with this little ghosty guy. Snuggled him while we were walking out of the hospital and then in the car ride home. But yeah, I think that's everything. I want to go ahead and send this video out to the YouTube world just for the purposes of anyone expecting a genetic appointment or just really unsure of what to expect when going into a geneticist appointment. Because I truly had no idea what we were walking into today. And it's definitely a lot to digest. Just going in general and having to talk about all that stuff is a lot. And then just the unknown. Yes, there may be something, but then there may absolutely be nothing, which obviously is what I'm hoping for, but we are getting answers, regardless if the answer is something or nothing. Either way, we were able to sign up for, it's like extended genome testing, and it'll look at things that may pop up later in her life, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like, does she carry like the BRCA gene? I think that's the breast cancer gene. Does she need colonoscopies earlier in life? Does she need to worry about like cardiac arrest? I mean, we're already gonna have her set up with cardiology the rest of her life, but and since I was my egg was used during IVF, it will also kind of like tie back to my cheek swabs, so they can also tell me if it's something I need to worry about. They said it was completely up to us doing that. So we should get those answers at the same time. Lots of information. But I feel exhausted. I feel like I ran a marathon. I am going to go find some chocolate and take a nap. And I will see you in the next one.